Alabama and Mississippi State. I guess the Crimson Tide have a lot to prove now. They lost a game to Tennessee. Well, the Crimson Tide still have a chance to win it all, something we've seen in the past. We're going to preview Alabama and Mississippi State, the Bama Insider Tailgate Show from Innisfree in Tuscaloosa. Titletown starts now.
The Bama Football Tailgate Show, brought to you by Bama Insider and On3 Sports Network, is on the air. The Crimson Tide are rolling, and we got you covered with a breakdown of the game matchup, an SEC preview, and all the fun of a game day on the quad. Broadcasting each home game from the Strip in Tuscaloosa. With Bama Insider and On3 Sports Network experts weekly like Kyle Henderson, Andrew Bone, and Clint Lamb, and more. National Championship quarterback Jay Barker, and hosted by former Crimson Tide Sports Network's broadcaster and SEC Network award-winning voice, Mick Gillispie. The Bama Insider Tailgate Show is presented by Yuengling Lager. Yuengling, America's oldest brewery, the best way to host a Bama tailgate party. Pearl River Resort Casino and Hotel in Choctaw, Mississippi. Let's play. Now featuring the sports book at the Timeout Lounge. Also brought to you by the Floribama world-famous Beach Bar and Lounge in Orange Beach. Genesis of Tuscaloosa. Luxury with a national championship service department. Visit Sevierville.com. Your Smokies start here. Tuscaloosa Hyundai. Hyundai, the longer you look, the more there is to like. Innisfree, an Alabama Irish pub tradition. Visit Tuscaloosa. Not too small, not too big. Tuscaloosa is pronounced just right. Owa Theme Park and Resort in Foley, Alabama. NewLifeArt.com, publisher of fine art editions by Daniel A. Moore. Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey. R&R Cigar, home of the Victory Cigar, with 2 locations in Tuscaloosa and Northport. Unique on the Strip. Cathead Distillery, proudly distilling award-winning spirits since 2010. Pawn Royale at 1019 McFarland Boulevard in Northport.
Welcome to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. The show is presented by Yuengling Lager, America's oldest brewery. And for the next 2 hours, we're going to preview number 6 Alabama, number 24 Mississippi State, 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern time at Bryant-Denny Stadium. On the show, we got a great cast of people that are going to help us preview it. Our good buddy Thom Abraham from 97.7 ESPN The Zone in North Alabama. We got Chris Coleman from Unique Bar on the Strip. We got Andrew Bone that's going to hang out with us from BamaInsider.com. We got a lot of folks that are going to be on the show today. And let me tell you guys, as we hang out with you from Innisfree here in Tuscaloosa, from, Yuengling Lager's headquarters, I guess you would say, that this show is brought to you by a 6th-generation company, Yuengling Lager. Cheryl Yuengling, who was here last show, part of the company's ownership, is a proud Alabama grad, and puts a little bit of crimson love in each one of those green bottles. Now's the time to try Yuengling Hershey Porter. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for Chris. Don't do it for Clint. Do it for yourself, and let me know what you think. I'm Mick Gillispie with Clint Lamb from On3, BamaInsider.com, talking Alabama football. The Crimson Tide 6-1, and Mississippi State is 5-2, number 6 against number 24. Clint, what's up, brother? I know this isn't what we thought last week when we were going in. Alabama lost to Tennessee in a heartbreaking defeat, but another day, dude. Another day, another dollar. We get ready for Alabama and Mississippi State. What's up?
Not much, Mick. Yeah, it's a little bit disappointing, both from Alabama's perspective. Losing a football game, you're now ranked number 6. Not the worst thing in the world. Then you got Mississippi State, who, only had 1 loss last week, would have been a top, 15 team had they been able to beat Kentucky. That would have made it a great matchup, a fun matchup had both teams won. Unfortunately, they both lose, and now it's, a non-top 25 Mississippi State team against number 6 Alabama, but State's still a good team. Alabama's looking to bounce back after a rough outing last week, and hopefully they're able to do it. So just blessed to be here, Mick.
Look, I think that's how we all feel. Look, I mean, this is kind of part of it. And if you guys are hanging out with us on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, like and subscribe. I see a lot of people that have come in Innisfree that watch the show on YouTube and say hi to us, man. We appreciate all you guys for swinging by. If you're listening on our statewide network, man, Roll Tide, thank you guys, wherever you might be in the state of Alabama today. And I want to remind you, for everyone at BamaInsider.com, you can join BamaInsider.com. You get all the recruiting, you get all the inside information, the message boards. Right now, $10 gets you a year membership, so check that out as well. All right, let's get into this, Clint. Your reaction to Alabama's heartbreaking loss to Tennessee, although if you listen to the national media, if you caught up with some of the talkers from Tennessee, you would think that it was a blowout. They won on the last-second field goal. They tore the field goal post down. They have also torn down social media with all of their talk. But it feels like Alabama got blown out last week.
I think a lot of it, if you'd have told me last week that they were going to struggle to start the game because, Bryce Young was starting and he was rusty after 2 weeks not throwing the football and the offense was kind of trying to find a rhythm or getting a groove, I would have said that's completely understandable. The problem is that wasn't the case. Bryce Young was Bryce Young pretty much out the gate and played some of the best football for all 4 quarters that I've ever seen him play. It was really the rest of the team, defensively. That's where you thought you were going to be able to hang your hat. It was, special teams play from the very first snap. It just felt like Alabama wasn't prepared going into that football game. And Nick Saban talked about, the anxiety factor and how everybody was playing or coming out tight. That's going to be a concern for Alabama fans. It's a correctable issue, right? I mean, it's not like, I think Alabama's got to get back to focusing on not the result and what's, standing in their way. It's all the little things that you need to do that's going to be able to give you the result that you're looking for, the process. I think they've gotten away from that a little bit. And so, it was a tough game for Alabama. It did end up being only, a 3-point loss. Alabama played tight right there until the end. And despite the fact it was another week against a very good football team, they've done this multiple times this year, unnecessary penalties, unnecessary mistakes, doing things that, are going to get, a lot of other teams blown out. And Alabama still found a way to win a lot of these games. And they also found a way to just lose this game by 3 points on the road in a very hostile environment. So from that perspective, I mean, I think that speaks volumes about Alabama's talent level. The problem is talent's only going to carry you so far. You've got to have the right mentality. And I got to be honest, Mick, I really want to see this Alabama team play with a chip on its shoulder this week. Because, I mean, really, when's the last time you saw them play that way? Really feel like you saw an Alabama team that was trying to make a statement.
I think you make a great point, Clint. And before we get into anything else, everyone in the comments section, Brett and Tim and Dean and Jarvis and Mike and Karen and David, and if you're in the Philippines, Roll Tide, everybody. Steel Roll Tide, man. We see all you guys hanging out with us, Debbie. All you guys. Mike, Roll Tide, thank you guys for hanging out with us on the Bama Insider YouTube channel or maybe listening on radio. Clint, you make a great point. And for Alabama, how do you clean up the penalties and the lack of discipline, something that we really haven't grown accustomed to with the Nick Saban team? And look, I've been very critical. I'm probably one of the only people in this entire state that has been absolutely blowing up the officials because I did not think they did a good job at all officiating this game. But with that said, and not going down that rabbit hole, and my theories on why, just sticking to the fact that Alabama has had this track record on the year of penalties and lack of discipline. How do they clean that up?
Well, I think first of all, from a fan's perspective, I can agree that the refs had a couple of rough calls last week, but I also think you're building in an excuse. And I don't care how the refs performed last week. Alabama was worse. They performed way worse than any referee. So I think that, the focus needs to be on Alabama and getting the things corrected that they need to get. And, I think that starts with all the unnecessary penalties. Last week, sometimes you got certain penalties where guys are fighting their tails off. I understand that the pass interference calls, down the field, it's frustrating for fans to watch that. You would hope that they are going to get that corrected, but that's something that at least you can live with because it's two guys going to battle. Like Tyrion Arnold has had, several pass interference calls, but I don't question his, willing to just go to war with the receiver downfield a little bit too much, actually. At least he's going 100 miles an hour and he's trying. It's the stuff that is completely unnecessary. It's the false starts. It's the offsides. It's the, stuff like, uncharacteristic, necessary penalties. It's Henry To'o pushing a guy in the back after a play and getting a penalty thrown. It's things like that they have to get cleaned up. And if they can start there and they can cut back on their penalties just by getting that stuff cleaned up, and then you continue to go to work every single day and try to get the other stuff worked out as well, particularly, how you play the football in the air and stuff, I think that you can show improvement. The problem with that is that we haven't in the past, we very rarely seen a team that had a problem with penalties get those issues resolved in season. And so it's a very tough test, but I think Alabama's certainly capable. It's just they've got to have the right mentality. I think a lot of, the penalties that you're seeing downfield, like the pass interferences and stuff, I think it's guys, you talk about anxiety and worrying about what can go wrong. I think it's guys panicking downfield and not really doing or playing the football in the way that they've been taught. Now I'm not saying that they're playing with poor technique. It's just I think they're getting a little handsy. They're worried about making a mistake. Worry about what you can do right in the situation rather than what you can do wrong. And I think that would resolve a lot of the mental issues. But as far as the penalties, you got to eliminate the stuff that just doesn't have to happen. And that's where I think, Alabama really needs to improve.
The Bama Insider Tailgate Show is brought to you by Pearl River Resort and Casino in Choctaw. That's where our good buddy Holt is today. I said, where you at, man? Not at Innisfree. He said, I'm at Philly. I said, okay. Make sure you get some good bets in and hit those table games. Do all the things you got to do over at the Golden Moon Casino. Now's a great time to make your picks count, just like Holt at the Timeout Sports Lounge and Sports Book. Alabama, are they ready to take the next step forward? Clint Lamb and I are going to break that down when we come back. More Bama Insider Tailgate Show right after this.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Elevate your taste. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
Celebrate the Tide's legacy of championships with Daniel A. Moore's latest creation, The Legacy Begins. A tribute to the 1926 Rose Bowl victory over Washington, putting Southern football on the map and establishing the unmatched legacy of Alabama's national titles. New Life Art is offering The Legacy Begins in a variety of formats that will fit any budget. Remember the Rose Bowl with these and other fine art gift items available now at danielmooreart.com or by calling 1-800-735-2787.
Tuscaloosa is Alabama's ultimate sports destination and a place for outdoor enthusiasts to thrive. It's a community rooted in history and one that's on the cusp of a burgeoning art scene too. Tuscaloosa is vibrant, it's charming, and it's familiar. Its people welcome you with open arms and warm hellos into a community that's tied together. Tuscaloosa is our home.
Look at yourselves. I make the big plays and the big games. You don't. Yeah, you would have made All-State if Coach put you in. Keep telling that story, or you can actually play the game. The sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino puts you in the starting lineup. I'll still be making the plays. You'll be making the bets. And finally getting the sports glory you deserve. The sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. Play the game.
Nothing compares to being at the game in person, but the next best thing has to be Floribama's Old River Grill. There's over 40 TVs, a game day atmosphere, your favorite drinks, and a football menu that will blow you away. Santa Fe egg rolls, traditional jumbo chicken wings, grilled cheese and chili cheese dogs, and you've got to try our tender pork shank served with a tropical habanero sauce. We call them Island Pig Wings. Floribama's Old River Grill, the perfect game day when you can't be there in person. Floribama's Old River Grill, across the street from the world-famous Floribama.
There's a new place where thrill meets chill, where the fun is always tropical cool, inside and out. The park at OWA is now Tropic Falls Theme Park, joined by the all-new indoor water park now open. Come to OWA and experience Tropic Falls. It's like nothing you've ever seen, with 23 theme park rides and 11 new indoor water park slides, complete with lazy river and arcade. All at Tropic Falls, only at OWA Parks and Resort. Buy your tickets online and save at visitowa.com.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Do you consider yourself a black sheep, misfit, or screwball? If so, we've got the perfect drink for you. Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball combines two of America's favorite, peanut butter and whiskey. Enjoy it neat, on the rocks, or in your favorite cocktail. Screwball, the original most awarded peanut butter whiskey, is now available near you. Go to screwballwhiskey.com for more information. Enjoy responsibly.
Advertisement by Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors. 35% alcohol by volume.
Hi, Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai.
Welcome back to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show, hanging out with you from Innisfree on the Strip, getting you ready for Alabama and Mississippi State, 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN. You can watch the game. Let me remind you guys that the show's brought to you by our friends at Pearl River Resort and Casino in Choctaw. Now's a great time to make your picks count at the Timeout Sports Lounge and Sports Book. And if you're watching on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Bama Insider, now that we're part of On3, we want you to be part of it as well. $10 gets you an entire year. All right, Clint, let's get into this now. I want to ask you a very difficult question. Is this Alabama team ready to take the next step forward to being a champion?
I mean, I certainly think that they're talented enough. I don't think that's been really the question. They've had the pieces the entire year. It's a matter of, can they get the right mentality, and hopefully, suffering the loss like they did this past weekend, and then seeing how people have responded. People have challenged Alabama's defense that everybody was hyping up throughout the offseason. They've been challenging Will Anderson. I've seen tons of people this week, whether it be national media, some local media, some fans, they've been asking where Will Anderson's been at. And I think he's had a pretty decent season up to this point. But I don't think necessarily that he's been as good this year as maybe he was last year. I also think he has a lot working against him as far as teams, trying to take away his impact on the football game as much as humanly possible. But at the same time, he's been challenged. Alabama's secondary, all the guys involved with that, they've been challenged, and it's time to find out, what does that mean to them? Because in the past, when you've seen an Alabama team get challenged, they've normally responded extremely well. And one thing, when you look at it historically, during the Nick Saban era, Alabama, it seemed like they would win football games before the games were even played, before either team stepped on the field. The opposing team would get psyched out, and, they would be beat mentally before the game even started. Not only do I think that has been diminished somewhat in how that plays into Alabama's favor or advantage, I think Alabama's kind of psyching themselves out before football games. And I think that's got to get eliminated. And if they can do that, they can play with anybody in the country. And I understand there's some limitations here, at some positions. Still think they're trying to work some things out at wide receiver. In the secondary, they have plenty of pieces. It's a matter of getting the right guys in the field in the right spot. You might see some shake up. You might see some other guys get some opportunities, That might happen this weekend against Mississippi State. That might happen after the bye week, or it might not happen at all. But just continuing to go I think that they have a good enough secondary. I think they have good enough receivers, a fantastic quarterback. They've got the pieces to win a national championship, but they've got to be able to get their minds right. And that's just a question. I continue to think, Alabama's going to respond or rise to the occasion. They struggle against Texas on the road. You think, okay, this is the wake up call. They're going to be able to respond, from this. Didn't play great. And then, they continue to have a lot of the same issues. So it's about getting that stuff resolved. And, I believe in their ability to be able to do it. And if they can, they're certainly one of the best teams in the country. I don't care where they're ranked, but it's a matter of seeing it. And that starts with Mississippi State this weekend.
Our show today is brought to you by our remote Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Later on in the show, we're going to have a Screwball shot right here on the show. And we invite you to do that at your tailgate, as long as you're 21 or over. Find out for yourself. Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey, a great part of Alabama tailgate. All right, well, let me just kind of throw this out at you. Is the loss to Tennessee the first crack in the Alabama dynasty?
We had this conversation last week, Mick, and I thought it was a pretty absurd question at the time, not from you, but just the fact that I had seen that, creep up and be a topic of conversation for a lot of people. I just didn't think that, there was any scenario where it could go in a way where you would start to think that it was. And then the game played out the way that it did. And then we've been having these conversations to start this week. And I'll continue to go back to the anxiety, the playing tight, just sometimes, one thing that I'll give a lot of players or teams for in the past during the Nick Saban era is they've always handled the expectations and the hype extremely well. There's a certain expectation that comes with the brand of wearing the scripted A, right? And guys have never let that really affect their ability to go out, whether it be on the practice field, whether it be on the game field, and do the things that they need to do to continue to get better, not be complacent. And it just feels like in the last couple of years, guys have started to let the pressure of playing at Alabama and being the number one team in the country and having everybody tell you how wonderful you are. It seems like they've kind of struggled in the last couple of years. Now, the timing of that also kind of falls in line with NIL. Is there a correlation there? Is it something where guys are, they've got NIL deals and they're worried about, hey, if I don't do what I need to do, I might lose some of these deals. I've got money on the line. I'm trying to take care of my family. I'm not saying that that's, the case. I'm saying that that's a possibility. I don't know what the reasoning is why Alabama struggled so much, but now that NIL and brand awareness has become an even bigger part of college football, there is no bigger brand right now than Alabama as far as national recognition. So, you just want to see these guys, get back to having the right mentality. And, if you have something happen on Saturday, like we saw against Tennessee, and you see them come out the very next week and they're struggling, or they can't get a lot of these issues fixed, and they're having, consistent issue with penalties and, uncharacteristic mistakes, I think that's, now is the time for everybody is on alert. Coaching staff, Nick Saban, players. I mean, it's time to step up, buckle up your, bootstraps and get ready to go. And if they're not able to do that, then I think that, is a major concern.
He's Clint Lamb from BamaInsider.com. I'm Mick Gillispie. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, the Bama Insider Tailgate Show across the state of Alabama on radio, our flagship station, Jocks 2 in Birmingham. Maybe you're watching on, the YouTube channel. Maybe you're listening on the Next Round app. Maybe you're listening in North Alabama, across the state, man. We appreciate all you guys hanging out with us. Clint, will this loss to Tennessee benefit Alabama? And is today a trap game for this Crimson Tide team?
I don't know that I would necessarily call it a trap game. You got a bye week after this week. It's an opportunity to get some things right. And Mississippi State is really good. It's not like you're stepping up against, a much inferior opponent. And it's like, you might look like you've improved in a lot of these areas, but you really haven't. I think if you continue to have the problems that you had against, Texas and Tennessee and at times against Arkansas and against Texas A&M, Mississippi State's going to be able to make you pay for it in the same way that all those other teams were able to as well. And so I do think that this is the perfect opportunity to see how are these guys going to respond. I wouldn't think that Mississippi State's a quote unquote trap game at all. To me, it's a statement game. It's, not just beating Mississippi State, but showing the world, hey, the way that we've played is the standard that we're not going to allow to fly around here. and we're here to make a huge statement. Last year, it felt like that the Mississippi State game was a statement, matchup for Alabama, and they won 49-9, and everybody starts singing their praises. I thought it was a great launching point for Will Anderson. Prior to that, he had, I want to say like 3.5 sacks and, 8.5 tackles for loss, something like that. And then after, he had 4 sacks against Mississippi State. After that point, from the Mississippi State game on, he had like 14.5 sacks or 14 sacks, something like that. He had, 20 plus tackles for a loss. He was incredible down the stretch. Not only was he improving and really starting to take over and dominate games, but Alabama, despite the fact that they still had those same limitations, not the same, but it was a team that was also flawed with the offensive line and some other areas, running back depth due to injury. They were able to really get things together, come together, and make a run good enough to get to the national championship. Can they, use Mississippi State this weekend to do the same thing? We'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah, great points, Clint. Final thing I want to know from you before we kind of dip off and bring you back on the show late is Bryce Young. What's his legacy? After that game against Tennessee, what are we looking at right now for him moving forward? And, how does that lead this Alabama team against Mississippi State and forward?
Well, you're talking about a guy who is, unflappable. It doesn't matter how big the moment is. It doesn't matter if he's gone 2 weeks without throwing the football. It doesn't matter if it's been a rough day for Alabama and he gets the football late. You got to think against Tennessee, Bryce Young did his job. He led the offense down the field to a point where they were in field goal range. Field goal kicker ends up missing it. Now, granted, Jahmyr Gibbs dropped a pass that, wasn't the best pass in the world from Bryce Young, but it was definitely catchable. Should have called it. So everything that Bryce Young needed to do in that football game to win, he certainly did. And he's done that way more often than not. You look back to the Georgia game, late, you need Alabama to drive down the field and score a touchdown. He throws a pick six and seals the game. He's had a couple of moments. I think Alabama's offense, when Texas A&M had tied it up last year in College Station, I think they went 3-and-out on their final drive, and then A&M went down the field and kicked the game-winning field goal. So he hadn't been perfect with it, but I think just, if you're an Alabama fan and the game's on the line and Bryce Young gets the football at the end, you feel very, very confident in his ability to lead the offense down the field, kick a field goal or score a touchdown, whichever it is that they really need to do. And that's truly a special player. And I think that, you look at Mac Jones, you look at Tua Tagovailoa, a lot of these other Alabama quarterbacks, I feel like a lot more of it, has been put on the shoulders of Bryce Young and Bryce Young only during those moments. And he's never faltered. And so I think from a legacy standpoint, I really hope Alabama can get him a national title as the starter, because he certainly earned it. He's the best quarterback in Alabama history, in my opinion. It will be very unfortunate if they're not able to, but certainly his legacy, regardless, is always going to be intact.
All right, Clint, you're going to be back on towards the end of the show, man. Great work, my brother. And let me tell you something, Clint. I'm going to throw this on the screen right here just so you get a feel for it right now.
Wow.
This is the Crimson Connection. It is signed by Bryce Young, right? He's Alabama's 4th Heisman Trophy winner. This full-color oil painting depicts Bryce's memorable Heisman-worthy go-ahead pinpoint pass to John Mechie. In the corner of the end zone as Alabama dismantled Georgia and their defense in last year's SEC championship game. We're giving this one away. It's autographed right there. You can see it. Look at that.
It's incredible.
I know. You can get yours at newlifeart.com or swing by right here at Innisfree, the Iron Bowl. We're giving this one away, and we hope that a lot of you guys will come out. And right now, a great deal at New Life Art. Free standard shipping on any order with code LESCowbell at checkout. That expires on 10/23/22. All right, Clint, we're going to hang out towards the end of the show. Thank you, my brother. When we come back, we're going to talk to Thom Abraham from ESPN up in North Alabama about this whole Alabama thing. Alabama, Mississippi State, 6 Central, 7 o'clock Eastern, and we're previewing it right here on the Bama Insider Tailgate Show.
Hi, Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. Every Tuscaloosa Hyundai is value priced, and Tuscaloosa Hyundai doesn't add the side sticker. Side stickers mean you pay thousands more. Everything is value priced at Tuscaloosa Hyundai. No additional dealer markups. It's just that simple. So if you're tired of getting stuck with side stickers, no additional markup is why you come to Tuscaloosa Hyundai, corner of Skyline and Hargrove.
Do you consider yourself a black sheep, misfit, or screwball? If so, we've got the perfect drink for you. Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball combines two of America's favorite, peanut butter and whiskey. Enjoy it neat, on the rocks, or in your favorite cocktail. Screwball, the original most awarded peanut butter whiskey, is now available near you. Go to screwballwhiskey.com for more information. Enjoy responsibly.
Advertisement by Screwball Spirits LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Check out Pawn Royale at 1019 McFarland Boulevard in Northport. The summer season is almost over. Time to go to Pawn Royale and find some amazing deals. Right now, our lawn and gardening inventory must go. That includes mowers, trimmers, blowers, chainsaws, you name it. Pawn Royale has deals on everything. Many items at cost or less. If you're in the market, come make a deal. That's Pawn Royale, 1019 McFarland Boulevard in Northport.
Unique on the Strip. It's the best place to watch sports.
You're not even kidding. 11 TVs, NFL and MLB package, NHL, EPL, and so much more. If you want a game, they have it.
Now they're doing weekly NFL Pick'em, winners every Sunday, and grand prizes on Super Bowl Sunday.
And we haven't even mentioned the drink specials.
Of course they have daily drink specials. You can see them on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Unique T-Town every day.
Unique on the Strip. The best place to watch sports in Tuscaloosa.
Touchdown! Hey guys, look at me. Now look at yourselves. I make the big plays and the big games. You don't. Yeah, you would have made All-State if Coach put you in. Keep telling that story, or you can actually play the game. The sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino puts you in the starting lineup. I'll still be making the plays, you'll be making the bets, and finally getting the sports glory you deserve. The Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. Play the game.
Tuscaloosa is Alabama's ultimate sports destination and a place for outdoor enthusiasts to thrive. It's a community rooted in history and one that's on the cusp of a burgeoning art scene too. Tuscaloosa is vibrant, it's charming, and it's familiar. Its people welcome you with open arms and warm hellos into a community that's tied together. Tuscaloosa is our home.
R&R Cigars invites you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Now 2 awesome locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar in Yingling for $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa, near Home 2 Suites, or Northport, next to Winn-Dixie. TheCigarMansion.com.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Elevate your taste. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
Welcome back to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show as we talk Alabama and Mississippi State. 7 o'clock kickoff at Bryant-Denny Stadium. The Tide looking to rebound after a tough loss at Tennessee last week. And Mississippi State, they're trying to come back after being clipped by Kentucky a week ago. Before we talk to our good buddy Thom Abraham from 97.7 ESPN The Zone, let me remind you that this segment is presented by Sevierville. That's where we were last week. We were at Trotter's Whole Hog having a good time there. Sevierville has 4 different self-guided fall tours that guide you through the back roads and highlight the historical points of interest and beautiful fall views. You can find maps and videos and make your plan at sevierville.com/fall.
Autumn brings vivid colors to the back roads and hollows of Sevierville, Tennessee. Wind your way to quaint country churches, a historic covered bridge, and even a pick-your-own apple orchard. This fall, the best views are yours on Sevierville's Rocky Flats Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
All right, Tom, great to see you again. Let's get into this. Alabama lost the football game to Tennessee, but it feels like Alabama got blown out. They lost by 3 in a dramatic fashion, but it just doesn't feel like a 3-point loss.
It doesn't in a lot of ways. It was because of the ease with which Tennessee was able to move the ball. I mean, one short drive after another, they went 75 yards in 45 seconds. They went 95 yards in 50 seconds. And then at the end, they went, what was it, 40 yards or 35 yards, whatever they needed in 15 seconds to set up the game-winning field goal. It was just too easy, and we're just not used to seeing an Alabama defense gashed the way this Alabama defense was gashed. You got to give a ton of credit, obviously, to Hendon Hooker and to the offense of Tennessee. But man, oh man, whatever happened to defense and discipline, that's what this dynasty was built on. And make no bones about it. This dynasty has had a couple of 2-year gaps in between championships in the past. So there's no reason to say right now that this is over with. We won't know until it's over. Then we'll know that it's over. But, you know, the fact of the matter is, Alabama, when they were winning championships in the early part of the last decade, when they were winning championships, they were one of the least penalized teams in all of college football. They were averaging less than 4 penalties a game. Now they're averaging 10 penalties a game, and they have more penalties accepted against them than anybody else in all of college football. And it's just something we're not used to seeing.
Yeah, so many things to talk about. I want your opinion. You know, Alabama did have some penalties. I mean, you know, obviously, 17 of them. Some of them were, you know, false starts and blocks in the back. I really had a problem with some of the penalties that weren't called against Tennessee. I kind of agreed with Nick Saban, actually a lot. You know, I'll tell you, I just didn't feel like something just didn't smell right to me with some of these penalties, including the Kool-Aid McKinstry interception on the 4th down jump ball. I don't know. I mean, I don't think the officials were trying to make Tennessee win the game. It just felt like maybe they wanted it to be under 7 points. I don't know.
We see it in basketball all the time where a crowd will impact an official. It's human nature that the crowd will impact an official. And certainly there with 101,000 people, you know, absolutely losing their minds, there's no doubt that, you know, some of that stuff might be happening where, you know, the official doesn't know that he's being influenced, but yet he's influenced. Everybody's screaming, and out comes the flag, and he gets positive reinforcement. On the Kool-Aid McKinstry interception, that is a really ticky-tack call in terms of pass interference. Now, there were others that weren't called that I thought were worse than that. But that there, arm around the waist, yes, did not turn the man. Both guys looking back for the ball. That's not a call that you need to make at that particular point in time in the game. I was shocked at that call. I was also dismayed. I don't understand what's targeting, what's headhunting, what's smacking a quarterback in the head. I mean, there were a couple of times where Bryce Young took some pretty big shots that in the NFL, the guy would have been probably suspended for 3 games. And one they even looked at and came back and said it wasn't targeting. I mean, it's like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Then what is targeting? I mean, he took some hellacious hits. But I still don't think it's that. That's not the reason why wide receivers were running wide open down the field. That's not the reason why Alabama was running with a 3-man rush on those last 2 plays and dropping 8, and none of the 8 were anywhere near the guys that they were throwing the ball to. That's all on Alabama. And so that part of it, you know, is a bigger concern to me, because that's a lack of discipline. It's a lack of eye discipline defensively. And that's the thing that's got to change.
Right. And we look, we're not going to know anyone's motivation, but we do know, as you mentioned, that Alabama drops too many balls, that Alabama makes too many penalties, even, you know, and their opposition, for some crazy reason, never gets called a penalty, right? So they're the most penalized team, and whoever they're playing is the least penalized team, which I don't get. But at the same time, guys got to catch the ball, and the defense in the secondary has got to do better, and the pass rush has to do better. They've got to stop turning the football over. All these things, Tom, that have piled up, and they lost by 3 in one of the most hostile environments that you can think of.
Yeah, we do this every year for Alabama's one loss. It's like we talk about them like they're 1-6 and not 6-1.
Right.
I said earlier this week on my show, I was like, I don't even know how the heck they're 6-1. They've dropped more passes statistically. They've dropped more passes than anybody else in all of FBS. They are the most penalized team in all of FBS. I mean, it's amazing that you can have those two things going on, and you would have this issue. And it feels like they don't get pressure. And I was stunned to learn that Alabama leads the SEC in pressure per pass attempt at 8.3 passes per sack for the Alabama defense. So they actually do get some pressure. Will Anderson this year has been a little bit non-existent at times. There have been times he's gotten a lot of pressure, but he doesn't have the sacks piling up like he has in the past. Some of it, though, by design. You talk about the drop pass by Gibbs late in the game was a critical drop. He can catch that ball, there's no doubt. It was not the most accurate pass, followed up by the next pass, which was also not accurate. But in both those cases, Tennessee sent 6. Alabama had 5. They were empty, and Tennessee sent 6. So they sent one more than you can block, and that's if everybody blocks well. And there's no wonder that Bryce Young couldn't make an accurate pass with that kind of pressure on them. You turn it over, and Hendon Hooker's got the ball, and Alabama's sending 3.
Yeah.
And they're trying to rush with 3 against 5. They're dropping 8. One of the hallmarks of a Nick Saban defense is match up defense against in zone defense. In other words, somebody comes through your zone, you pick them up and you escort them through the zone. You play them tight. They were dropping, had guys running through zones, and nobody was getting near anybody. And it was just amazing the ease at which Tennessee was able to move the ball. We've seen this team give up 40, 50 points now several times in the last couple of years, whether it's in a playoff game or national championship or, what we have seen in the last 2 or 3 years. We never used to see that. And I think that's the thing that is hard to kind of stomach.
Well, going into today's game, all these things that we've talked about, even stuff that we're not going to talk about today, because we could sit here and do probably, 2 hours on the things that we want to see Alabama improve on. Do you think that this is the wake-up call? Because obviously it wasn't the close win over Texas A&M. Obvious it wasn't what happened at Arkansas. Obviously it wasn't what happened at Texas. Do you think that this is the wake-up call, or are they capable of fixing these problems?
I think they're very capable of fixing these problems. And I think that with Mississippi State coming in again, look at the irony. Last year, after they had their loss against Texas A&M, they went to Starkville and they beat State by 40 points. We're going to see the same type of thing tonight, I believe. I believe that this 21-point line will be blown away by the middle of the second quarter, possibly. I think Alabama will be a much more disciplined football team. It's one thing to have close misses because they kids, you're dealing still with the 18 to 21-year-old kids, and they're like, yeah, we're going to pull it out. We'll fix it. Don't worry. The kid will make the field goal or whatever. We'll stop them when we have to. Now they've been tagged with a loss. Now there's no room for no margin for error. You've got to win this game. You've got to go to Ole Miss and beat them. And I don't care what kind of a team comes in from Auburn. You got to win the Iron Bowl, and then you're going to have to win the SEC championship game to get to the playoff. So I think that you're going to see a different kind of focus, and we'll see whether or not they can start tightening up these other issues that they've had.
Tom, I've always said that Tennessee and their fan base leads the league in talk. We haven't seen this in a long time, and I said last week, and I believe it's my favorite rivalry in college football, and partly because I've never seen a fan base that talks more than they do. When you win 15 straight, it's hard to convince people of that. Have you noticed that as well?
Yeah, they're living high right now, and they earned it. They're smoking those 16-year-old cigars, which taste nasty by this point. They got their new goalposts up. I don't know if they went out to the Home Depot and got some 4-inch PVC and built some goalposts, or maybe got 2x4s and put them up, because they needed to ask the fans to help pay for the goalposts. Look, this is all good for the SEC. It's not a fun time for an Alabama fan, certainly, to have to listen to this for the next year. But this is really good for the SEC. It's always better when there's a strong team in Knoxville. And we'll see what happens. They got to go to Georgia still. So we'll see what happens when they go to Georgia and what happens in that particular game. But, you got to let them have their day. And they earned it.
you need to stay off the field. I mean, that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah, let me ask you this, Tom. Let me cut you off right there because I want your opinion. Jermaine Burton, I'm guessing he's not going to play today, but there's a part of me that is a little concerned, and I'm not taking anything away from Tennessee because I know how exciting this win was. But when you got all those people jumping off, people getting trampled, trying to get out on the field, you got players and coaches. It's a dangerous situation that at some point has to be addressed. Alabama doesn't do this. It's a historical thing. We don't charge the field. We've won all the big games. But when we lose, when Alabama loses, it becomes mayhem.
Yeah, it is very dangerous. I have done games where this has happened while we were in the broadcast booth and there have been people charging the field. I'll be honest with you. I am shocked that we haven't had a mini riot in one of these games at this point. And remember, a lot of SEC schools now are selling beer in the stadium. So that kind of, that factors into it. Somebody's going to take a swing at somebody, at a player or something. A fight's going to break out, and there's going to be not 30 players on the field. There's going to be 15,000 people on the field, and we're going to have a really bad melee. There's a reason why the SEC charges a fine for this type of stuff. It can get very, very dangerous. It's very scary. I've been on the field as a field reporter when it's happened.
Right.
When I've been interviewing a coach, and all of a sudden this mass of people are all around you, and you're not sure you can get off the field. Nick Saban last year trying to get off the field at Texas A&M got bruised up, and he has a protection detail. It is bad. Now, what Jermaine Burton did, I've looked at that video several times. He had some room around him. It wasn't like he was in a mosh pit. Probably, he needs to control himself. I think that girl jumped out in front of him and ran across, there. But you don't need to resort to that. But on the other hand, keep the people off the field. That's a very, very dangerous situation.
I felt like
the court too when it happens in basketball.
Right. I felt like it was you missed the point when you put a GoFundMe page up there to pay for the fine because, there's a point to that. It's not supposed to be a big joke. I mean, it's supposed to be, hey, you need to at least get the visiting players off the field. But it's going to take somebody getting seriously injured before they take this seriously, in my opinion. And, it's a lot more of a serious situation than it feels like it's being taken right now.
Quick story, Kick Six. It was amazing, right? So Kick Six, I'm on radio coast to coast with CBS Sports Radio at the moment of Kick Six. And then they all come off the field. I'm standing right in front of Rob Bramlett when he says they're not going to keep him off the field tonight. So I get done with my hit, and I immediately head for the exit to get out of the stadium. And as I'm going out of the stadium, there was 15,000 people in Auburn Arena watching the game on the big screens there that couldn't get into the game. So as I'm leaving the stadium, the gates are all wide open, and they are pouring in to the stadium. I'm telling you that a third of the people that were on the field after the Kick Six weren't at the game. People were just pouring out of the parking lot and going into the stadium to get on the field. Not a safe situation.
Always great hanging out with you, Tom. Thom Abraham from the Thom Abraham Show. You know him from 10 to noon every single day, Monday through Friday on 97.7 ESPN, the Zoe Bassmasters Radio, and right here on the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. When we come back, we're going to talk to Andrew Bone about recruiting. More Alabama and Mississippi State talk coming up.
The first legal distillery in the state of Mississippi. Founded in 2010 by friends and fellow Alabama grads Austin Evans and Richard Patrick to create small batch spirits that give the taste of the South with every sip. Best known for its flagship Cathead Vodka, Cathead Distillery produces 5 award-winning brands. Find out for yourself and pick some up for your next party or tailgate. CatheadDistillery.com.
Touchdown! Hey guys, look at me. Now look at yourselves. I make the big plays and the big games. You don't. Yeah, you would have made All-State if Coach put you in. Keep telling that story, or you can actually play the game. The sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino puts you in the starting lineup. I'll still be making the plays, you'll be making the bets, and finally getting the sports glory you deserve. The sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. Play the game.
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, football is fine art. Now at newlifeart.com, see Daniel A. Moore's new 2021 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar, featuring 13 dynamic images of defining moments from the Saban era. As a special offer to listeners of this show, use coupon code ROLLTIDE for $5 off each calendar. To order yours, call 1-800-735-2787 or visit newlifeart.com today.
Autumn brings vivid colors to the back roads and hollows of Sevierville, Tennessee. Wind your way to quaint country churches, a historic covered bridge, and even a pick-your-own apple orchard. This fall, the best views are yours on Sevierville's Rocky Flats Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Elevate your taste. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
Nothing compares to being at the game in person, but the next best thing has to be Floribama's Old River Grill. There's over 40 TVs, a game day atmosphere, your favorite drinks, and a football menu that will blow you away. Santa Fe egg rolls, traditional jumbo chicken wings, grilled cheese and chili cheese dogs, and you've got to try our tender pork shake served with a tropical habanero sauce. We call them Island Pig Wings. Floribama's Old River Grill, the perfect game day when you can't be there in person. Floribama's Old River Grill, across the street from the world-famous Floribama.
Do you consider yourself a black sheep, misfit, or screwball? If so, we've got the perfect drink for you. Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball combines two of America's favorite, peanut butter and whiskey. Enjoy it neat, on the rocks, or in your favorite cocktail. Screwball, the original most awarded peanut butter whiskey, is now available near you. Go to screwballwhiskey.com for more information. Enjoy responsibly.
Advertisement by Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Welcome back to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show as we get you ready for the Crimson Tide and Mississippi State. That is a 7 o'clock game at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Let me remind you guys, the show is brought to you by Yuengling. Yuengling is America's oldest brewery and a longtime partner of our show. This segment with Andrew Bone as we talk recruiting. Andrew Bone from On3, Bama Insider, is presented by Tuscaloosa Hyundai. Our good friend Barry Buckner and the crew at Tuscaloosa Hyundai are the best in the business at customer service. Also, if something's going on with your car, they've got a great service department. Let's listen to Barry.
Every Tuscaloosa Hyundai is value priced, and Tuscaloosa Hyundai doesn't add the side sticker. Side stickers mean you pay thousands more. Everything is value priced at Tuscaloosa Hyundai. No additional dealer markups. It's just that simple. Every Tuscaloosa Hyundai is value priced. So if you're tired of getting stuck with side stickers, no additional markup is why you come to Tuscaloosa Hyundai, corner of Skyline and Hargrove.
Look, I've been shopping for a car, and I got to tell you, cars under $25,000 that are new, Hyundai has a bunch of them. So go check it out. That are really good for the value and great gas mileage as well. All right, let's bring him on. Let's talk recruiting with Andrew Bone. He's the guru of Alabama recruiting. He's been at it for a long time. Bone, a lot going on right now in the world of the Crimson Tide, guys that they're after. And there are two big-time five-star prospects that have made their dates known as far as when they're going to let us know where they're going to college.
Yeah, that's right. It's a big week as far as a couple top Alabama targets announcing their commitment dates. The first, Cormani McClain, a 5-star cornerback out of Lakeland High School down in Florida, number 1 cornerback in the country. He's going to be announcing his decision on October the 27th. And this is a decision that is coming down to Alabama, Florida. Miami's in there, but I don't think it's going to be the Hurricanes. It's either between Alabama or the Florida Gators. And I think with Cormani, the biggest thing here is not getting back to Tuscaloosa this football season. He's been to Gainesville twice, also visited Florida back in late July. Now, the last time he was in Tuscaloosa was in June. Spent a couple days at Alabama with his mom. Really, after that trip, there was a lot of positive momentum on Alabama's side, and really thought that he was about to make a decision at least sometime in the month of July. We thought that something was about to come down the pipeline, but he decided to hold off, took a couple more visits, went to Florida, went to Miami, then decided that he was going to stretch it out, that he wanted to wait until after the season to make a decision, wanted to take his official visits after his senior season was completed. But surprised everybody and came out and said that he was going to go ahead and announce a decision next week. I don't think that bodes well for Alabama, especially with him not visiting Alabama in the last few months. Like I said, he's visited Gainesville twice, and there's a lot of momentum on Florida's side. And I think that Florida has done a really good job recruiting him. Corey Raymond, the defensive backs coach, really known as one of the premier defensive back coaches in the country, came over from LSU and has done a great job of building that relationship with Cormani throughout the process. So as of right now, leaning towards the Gators. That doesn't necessarily mean that he won't be back in Tuscaloosa for an official visit at some point, because he still has that visit to use. So we'll see if he ends up making it. And hey, you never know what might happen next week. But as of right now, I am leaning towards Florida for Cormani McClain. And then the second 5-star who announced that he's going to be making a decision is David Hobbs, 5-star defensive lineman out of North Carolina, coming off a visit to Tennessee for the Alabama game. So obviously, pretty high emotions coming after that trip. But one thing to keep in mind about David Hobbs is November 25th was always kind of a date that he had talked about for months, really ever since, late in the summer. There was some talk that he was going to make a decision in August. A lot of signs pointed towards North Carolina during that time, but took a late July trip to Alabama. Really started feeling a lot of love from the Crimson Tide. They had offered him back in June when he attended the Nick Saban football camp. So came back to that Champions Cookout in July and, decided to hold off from making a decision, but had always kind of said after that November 25th, which is his mom's birthday, was a date that he was really hoping to have a decision reached by then. So he had announced it this week. Of course, everybody just kind of assumed it meant that Tennessee was in great shape for him because he's coming off that Tennessee trip, announcing his commitment date. But like I said, keep in mind, this is a date that he had kind of been talking about for the last few months. It's just finally kind of been made official and gone public with it. So November 25th, David Hobbs is going to be making that decision. He's got a pretty important visit this weekend to Alabama. So he's going to be returning to Tuscaloosa for the official visit. So this is a big weekend for Alabama. They're not just going to have Hobbs on campus. They're going to have a lot of other guys in town too. And Hobbs is still expected to take an official visit to Georgia on that November 5th weekend when Tennessee comes to town. So he's going to see the Vols again and see if they can potentially go into Athens and beat the Bulldogs. So we'll see what happens there. But big weekend to get him back on campus for the Tide, especially with all the momentum that seems to be on Tennessee's side right now. Alabama can potentially squash that this weekend with a great official visit.
All right, Bone, quickly tell us who's going to be in town today for this Alabama-Mississippi State game.
Well, it's not just David Hobbs that's going to be in town. It's Jordan Hall, also in Tuscaloosa this weekend for an official visit. He's a top 30 overall recruit out of Jacksonville, Florida. One of the two official visitors on campus this weekend for the Crimson Tide. Pretty intriguing prospect here, just because Alabama showed a lot of interest in him early on in the recruiting process. He didn't return during the summer and participate in camp, so the interest kind of died down. But once his senior film got out there, Alabama, really started attacking him a little bit more. The interest has grown, and they certainly have been pushing a little bit harder for Jordan Hall over the course of the last month. And this is a guy who, recently came out and said that Alabama was his dream school, that he always wanted to play there. So we'll see what happens this weekend. If things go really well for Alabama, they can certainly become a realistic contender for him. Georgia, Florida, LSU kind of in that top group right now. I think he's going to take an official visit up to Ohio State as well. But a great visit this weekend could certainly turn the tide for Jordan Hall. The state's top 2 recruits, James Smith and Quay Rousseau, 2 5-stars out of Carver High School in Montgomery, also in town today. This is their second visit with the Crimson Tide this football season. They're also expected back to the Iron Bowl and will take their officials in December. No decision yet for either one of these guys. They're going to be waiting until the early signing period to make their commitments, but I do believe that Alabama is in really good shape for both of them. Another pretty intriguing prospect coming into town this weekend is Demari Brown, defensive back out of American Heritage High School in Plantation, Florida, same high school that produced Pat Surtain the second, and also Alabama freshman defensive back Earl Little Jr. This is another very talented defensive back that Alabama certainly has their eyes on, and they're going to have him for an unofficial visit this weekend. So we'll see how things go with Demari. But several other top recruits in town throughout these next 2 days, and we'll certainly have a lot of content coming to BamaInsider.com shortly after.
All right. Well, Bone, always great stuff from you. And also talking about great, give us a little rundown of what you got going on at Andrew J. Bone Real Estate. That's what brings you to our show each week.
That's right. Well, if you're looking for a game day condo or a residential home in the Tuscaloosa or Birmingham markets, please be sure to give us a call, 205-531-5577. And, one thing to keep in mind, that is not my cell phone number. So, when you call, that is our office phone number. They're not going to tell you any recruiting scoop. If you want to buy or sell a home or a condo or rent a property, give us a call.
All right, there he is, Bone. He's a guy that knows Alabama recruiting. You can find out more about Alabama recruiting at BamaInsider.com, now part of On3. Let me tell you something else. Bone graduated from Alabama, but so did the guys that started Cathead. It's the first legal distillery in the state of Mississippi. They were founded in 2010 by 2 Alabama grads, Austin Evans and Richard Patrick. They make small batch spirits that give you the taste of the South with every sip. Best known for their flagship Cathead Vodka. Cathead Distillery produces 5 award-winning brands today. That includes Bristow Gin, Hoodoo Chicory Liqueur, Old Soul Bourbon Whiskey, and Cathead Sparkling Canned Cocktails. Find out for yourself and pick some up for your next party at CatheadDistillery.com. Hey, great hanging out with everyone. First hour of the show's in the books. Got my next round shirt on. I know some of you guys are listening there. Maybe you're listening on our flagship station, Jocks 2. Maybe you're listening across the state of Alabama. Wherever you're at today, Roll Tide, thanks for hanging out with the second hour of the show as we get you ready for Alabama and Mississippi State. Coming up, more Bama Insider Tailgate Show right after this.
Pawn Royale at 1019 McFarland Boulevard in Northport. The summer season is almost over. Time to go to Pawn Royale and find some amazing deals. Right now, our lawn and gardening inventory must go. That includes mowers, trimmers, blowers, chainsaws, you name it. Pawn Royale has deals on everything. Many items at cost or less. If you're in the market, come make a deal. That's Pawn Royale, 1019 McFarland Boulevard in Northport.
Hi, Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. Every Tuscaloosa Hyundai is value priced, and Tuscaloosa Hyundai doesn't add the side sticker. Side stickers mean you pay thousands more. Everything is value priced at Tuscaloosa Hyundai. No additional dealer markups. It's just that simple. So if you're tired of getting stuck with side stickers, no additional markup is why you come to Tuscaloosa Hyundai, corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
Cathead, the first legal distillery in the state of Mississippi. Founded in 2010 by friends and fellow Alabama grads Austin Evans and Richard Patrick to create small batch spirits that give the taste of the South with every sip. Best known for its flagship Cathead Vodka, Cathead Distillery produces 5 award-winning brands. Find out for yourself and pick some up for your next party or tailgate, catheaddistillery.com.
R&R Cigars invites you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Now 2 awesome locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar in Yingling for $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa, near Home 2 Suites, or Northport, next to Winn-Dixie. TheCigarMansion.com.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You've heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Unique on the Strip. It's the best place to watch sports.
You're not even kidding. 11 TVs, NFL and MLB package, NHL, EPL, and so much more. If you want a game, they have it.
Now they're doing weekly NFL Pick'em, winners every Sunday, and grand prizes on Super Bowl Sunday.
And we haven't even mentioned the drink specials.
Of course they have daily drink specials. You can see them on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Unique T-Town every day.
Unique on the Strip, the best place to watch sports in Tuscaloosa.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Elevate your taste. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
Autumn brings vivid colors to the back roads and hollows of Sevierville, Tennessee. Wind your way to quaint country churches, a historic covered bridge, and even a pick-your-own apple orchard. This fall, the best views are yours on Sevierville's Rocky Flats Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Second hour of the Bama Insider Tailgate Show is brought to you by Yingling Lager. That's America's oldest brewery. Talking Alabama and Mississippi State, 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. At Bryant-Denny Stadium, a chance for Alabama to find some redemption after a tough, hard-fought last-second loss in Knoxville against Tennessee. Let me remind you guys that our show is presented by Genesis of Tuscaloosa, right there on the corner of Hargrove and Skyland Boulevard. You talk about service. Something goes wrong with your Genesis, they come to your house, they drop off another car, they take yours back to the shop, fix it, and then bring it back out. That's the kind of service that you want. Barry Buckner and his guys and gals take care of you so good over there. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us again as we get you ready for this football game. Mick Gillispie with Trip Rogers, the owner of Innisfree, as we hang out here at Innisfree. What's up, brother? I got to tell you first off, man, thank you. I mean, you have treated us like royalty here at the spot, man. Thank you.
Hey, thank y'all because y'all give us a national spotlight on your show, and that's what we love to see. We can reach a lot more people when you're on air, you know, and it's awesome. We feel very fortunate to be able to host y'all.
Well, we appreciate it. McConaughey, the super chat, brother, thank you so much. He says he'd love to have a beer and talk some football. If you're going to have a beer and talk some football, we're doing it right here.
Absolutely.
We're grabbing a Yingling, Trip, you, me, and we're going to talk some Alabama football.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Let's go, man. That's what
it's good to be back.
It is good to be back. Look, let's just get into it right now. I mean, you're an Alabama guy. I mean, you're an Alabama grad. You're doing the thing here, but you go to all these games. What'd you think about last week's game? Have you recovered from it yet?
Yeah, my hands recovered from me punching the bar a few times, but it was a tough one. I mean, 15 years, but we got to get over it, We've got to bounce back this week. Every game now is our season. We don't have a luxury of having an off weekend anymore. We've got to be 110% every weekend, and that's what's fun to watch. It really is. I mean, we've seen the last couple of years we've been in this position, and we've succeeded, which has been great. So I hope we jump on them tomorrow and take a week off, which we definitely need, and then 2 away games, and then back in Tuscaloosa in a month.
Look, I'm not going to tell you that this is a Yuengling Lager. I'm not going to tell you it's not, right, as I hang out with you. But I'm just wondering, do you think that there was an education that was had? Because we've been trying to tell everybody, that 15 years, Tennessee, they're the biggest smack talkers. I don't want to use the word smack. I want to use another word a team that won 1 out of 16, and they talk smack. Maybe we needed this.
It's Tennessee. That's what they do. We definitely – I thought the A&M game was going to be that game, but sometimes it takes a loss, and unfortunately it happens. But, hey, going undefeated in the SEC is something very few teams can do lately, So we've got to come together, as a team, and our leaders got to step up.
Yeah, look, I'm with you, dude. All right, well, look, but you and I are going to hang out here, and we're going to be on the last 2 segments. But the thing I want to say is, I get here early because of this right here. And for those of you at home, I'm just going to throw it up there. Where did you come up with this Irish gold sauce? You told me before, we're sending this around the country. It was before I got into my wings kick.
Yeah.
And now I'm in my wings kick. You're not getting this bottle back. I'm keeping this.
Y'all take these bottles home with y'all.
Thank you. I love this stuff. I'm serious. Ask Chris. I eat it every week. How did you come up with this?
It's good with almost anything you try it with.
Good, man.
But no, we came up with the sauce 13 years ago when we moved to the new location. And it's been great ever since. We started bottling it a few years ago, and we mail it out every single day.
It's so good. All right, and then the other thing is, if you see Chris, which he's not on camera right now, but this is another one of your brands right here, RMFT.
Best brand in the country.
Look, dude, I have put these RMFT in the tweets for years. They go in the tweets, something big happens, I'm sending that out. You got your shirt on right now. This is where you get the official RMFT gear.
Yep. Licensed, trademarked. We've had it for about 10 years now going on. And we've been selling it. We got some new designs coming out any week. Just like everything else, we can't get the shirts to put them on, but we're in the process of getting all that done in the next couple weeks. We got a couple new logos coming out that are going to be really sharp.
This is a great place, man. Really, we love being here. We love hanging out. And you guys are doing a lot of great stuff. How do you experience your game day? Tell me about what you're going to do today. Alabama's playing at, 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. We're going to come back, and you and I and Clint Lamb are going to get into the game. But tell me about a game day with Trip. What's it like?
We most of the time we'll go get breakfast at Ramajama's.
Oh yeah.
And then we head up here. When we get out of here tonight, we'll get out of here about 3 a.m. tonight, and then go get some breakfast, and then head back up here about 8:30, 9 a.m. And then we're here for the long haul. We get everything set up tomorrow. We set up for the parade, which is going to be great. We'll be going full tilt starting at 11 a.m. tomorrow, and homecoming's always great. We always get a good crowd for the parade, and it's a great thing for Tuscaloosa. Everyone has a good time. A lot of people come in for out of town, which is awesome. Just met some guys that from Pennsylvania. They got their Philly gear on.
Oh,
they're
here.
Excited.
Hey, we're cheering for Philly.
Yeah.
We got all the sports on. All right, we're going to break down Alabama and Mississippi State with Trip and me. But when we come back, we're going to get into gambling. We got Kenny from out in Vegas. We got Chris Coleman, a guy that you love.
Oh, yeah.
The Dart King.
Chris is the man.
Dart King here in Tuscaloosa. All that coming up. More Bama Insider Tailgate Show right here after this.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Elevate your taste. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
Celebrate the Tide's legacy of championships with Daniel A. Moore's latest creation, The Legacy Begins. A tribute to the 1926 Rose Bowl victory over Washington, putting Southern football on the map and establishing the unmatched legacy of Alabama's national titles. New Life Art is offering The Legacy Begins in a variety of formats that will fit any budget. Remember the Rose Bowl with these and other fine art gift items available now at danielmooreart.com or by calling 1-800-735-2787.
Tuscaloosa is Alabama's ultimate sports destination and a place for outdoor enthusiasts to thrive. It's a community rooted in history and one that's on the cusp of a burgeoning art scene too. Tuscaloosa is vibrant, it's charming, and it's familiar. Its people welcome you with open arms and warm hellos into a community that's tied together. Tuscaloosa is our home.
Look at yourselves. I make the big plays and the big games. You don't. Yeah, you would have made All-State if Coach put you in. Keep telling that story, or you can actually play the game. The sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino puts you in the starting lineup. I'll still be making the plays, you'll be making the bets, and finally getting the sports glory you deserve. The sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. Play the game.
Nothing compares to being at the game in person, but the next best thing has to be Floribama's Old River Grill. There's over 40 TVs, a game day atmosphere, your favorite drinks, and a football menu that will blow you away. Santa Fe egg rolls, traditional jumbo chicken wings, grilled cheese and chili cheese dogs, and you've got to try our tender pork shank served with a tropical habanero sauce. We call them Island Pig Wings. Floribama's Old River Grill, the perfect game day when you can't be there in person. Floribama's Old River Grill, across the street from the world-famous Floribama.
There's a new place where thrill meets chill, where the fun is always tropical cool, inside and out. The park at OWA is now Tropic Falls Theme Park, joined by the all-new indoor water park now open. Come to OWA and experience Tropic Falls. It's like nothing you've ever seen, with 23 theme park rides and 11 new indoor water park slides, complete with lazy river and arcade. All at Tropic Falls, only at OWA Parks and Resort. Buy your tickets online and save at visitowa.com.
Cathead, the first legal distillery in the state of Mississippi. Founded in 2010 by friends and fellow Alabama grads Austin Evans and Richard Patrick to create small batch spirits that give the taste of the South with every sip. Best known for its flagship Cathead Vodka, Cathead Distillery produces 5 award-winning brands. Find out for yourself and pick some up for your next party or tailgate, catheaddistillery.com. Do you consider yourself a black sheep, misfit, or screwball? If so, we've got the perfect drink for you. Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball combines 2 of America's favorite, peanut butter and whiskey. Enjoy it neat, on the rocks, or in your favorite cocktail. Screwball, the original most awarded peanut butter whiskey, is now available near you. Go to screwballwhiskey.com for more information. Enjoy responsibly.
Advertisement by Screwball Spirits LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Welcome back to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show, getting you ready for Alabama and Mississippi State, a chance for the Crimson Tide to get back on the field after last week's tough loss at Tennessee. And the Crimson Tide and Mississippi State, their longest rival, will kick off tonight at 7 o'clock. Let me remind you guys that our remote at Innisfree in Tuscaloosa is always presented by Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey, and Yuengling Lager, America's oldest brewery. Well, let's bring him in from out in Las Vegas, our sharp. His name is Kenny White. You know him from Kenny White's Power Ratings. Good to see you, Kenny.
Hey, Mick, thanks for having me on the show today. And busy time of year. I can't believe I got 5 sports going all at one time. I'm betting all 5, and I'm getting ready for my best sport, college basketball.
Yeah, well, yep, it's that time of year. There's MLB, which our next guest, great to have back on the show, Chris Coleman from Unique Bar on the Strip in Tuscaloosa. Big baseball fan, soccer going right now. There's so many different things. Hockey started, NBA started. This is the busiest time of the year for sports.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, no, you can watch them all down at Unique with Coleman and the gang. All right, guys, let's get this thing going here. Let's talk about this week's slate of games that we're going to take a look at. And the first game up is Kansas State at TCU. I was shocked that TCU came from behind to stay undefeated and beat Oklahoma State last week. They're one of the big surprises in college football, but Kansas State is a really good team. And I was really surprised, Kenny, when I saw that this spread was 3.5. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, I do love Kansas State as a team. Their head coach is outstanding. They came from North Dakota State, where he won, many national championships, and has done a really good job at Kansas State. They're a fundamentally sound football team. Adrian Martinez came in from Nebraska to boost the offense. Their defense is great too, but TCU's just got a little better team. Sonny Dykes has upgraded the talent level at TCU from what it was. Max Duggan has fit the system offensively great. 70% completions, 9.5 yards a pass, 16 touchdowns, and just 1 INT. So, they're taking care of the football. They can run it. They can throw it. It's a good football team. So I made TCU a little bit higher here. I made them 7, so I'm playing the Horned Frogs.
How about you, Coleman? What do you think about this one?
I agree with everything he just said. TCU's offense, and they're clicking. They get it. I like K-State, but TCU's the better team. They're at home. I'm laying the 3.5. I think, and it's been close. It's like 8 and 7 all time between these two teams. TCU.
Look, I'm not going to bet against TCU again this week. I went with Oklahoma State last week, 3.5, and it's a field goal plus, right? +1. I mean, I got a feeling that they're rolling right now. Are the Horned Frogs going to find themselves in position to make the college football playoff? I don't know. Kansas State's a good team, but I just feel like things are going TCU's way. Maybe it's a letdown game, but I'm going to go with the home team in this matchup. All right, let's switch gears here. And I will throw the second game on as we look at South Carolina and Texas A&M. Guys, South Carolina and Texas A&M, who would have thought that this would be a game that would be intriguing? But it definitely is, because Texas A&M has stumbled a little bit. South Carolina upset Kentucky. 3+3 for Carolina at home. Coleman, you go first.
A&M's 8-0 all time against South Carolina. This has never been a team they've had trouble with. South Carolina's turned the ball over at least 2 times every game, while A&M's offense anemic at best. I think that I like A&M here. Not a lot. I think this could be a 24-20 game. They're barely covering the 3. Right there, just under the under 45, but I like A&M.
What about you, Wizard of Odds? What do you think about this one?
Yeah, this A&M team, I don't know what they have to play for now with 3 losses already. They were looking for national championship. They thought they had that type of team with the recruiting classes they brought in the last 2 years. And Haynes King's definitely not the answer at quarterback. They're scoring 21.5 points per game. At least South Carolina, even with their turnovers, because Spencer Rattler has more INTs than touchdowns, they're still averaging 33 a game. I'm going to go with South Carolina here and Shane Beamer. I like his class, Beamer, who he is coached under. I mean, coaching class. I don't know if he's a classy person or not. Never met him, but from being under his dad, he is coached under 7 or 8 very quality football coaches. I think he's learned from a lot of really good minds. I think he's a good coach. I thought he improved this program last year, and so far this year, he's 4-2 ATS. He's making you money if you bet on him every game, so I'm going to take the points with him.
Look, I'm going with Texas A&M in this game. I just think they have better players, right? I mean, and they should win this game. They've been surprising to me when they got blown out by Mississippi State. But at the same time, I just think that South Carolina it doesn't have half of the talent that Texas A&M has, and I like a home dog, but I just don't think that South Carolina is that good. I think they're okay. I don't think they're great. And for that reason, when I look at this matchup, I kind of feel like you just go with the talent in this game. So, that's kind of where I'm at on this one. Hey, talking about the next game, and as you guys hang out with us here on the BamaInsider YouTube channel or listening on radio across the state of Alabama, I do want to remind you that as we talk about the odds, it's presented by Pearl River Resort and the Timeout Sports Lounge, which is located in Philadelphia, Mississippi. So you can go there and make your picks count. They've got 5 kiosks, 10 VIP terminals, 3 retail stations. All these sports that we're talking about, whether it's college football, baseball playoffs, the NBA, hockey, NASCAR, anything worldwide, golf, you can bet on them. And if you play $50 at the sports book, you can play around at Dancing Rabbit, which is the Augusta you can play in Mississippi for $30. And you're talking about less than 2 hours from Birmingham and, an hour and a half from Tuscaloosa. All right, guys, let's take a look at our third game. Minnesota at Penn State. Penn State coming off of a loss where they were just physically manhandled by Michigan. And they're at home giving up 4.5. Kenny, Wizard of Odds, I'll start with you first.
This is a tough game with Tanner Morgan questionable with a head injury. Sean Clifford also questionable for Penn State. So both starting quarterbacks questionable to play in this game. Money came in early in the week on Minnesota. This number opened 7 for Penn State, down to 4 now. Money under on the total on the under. Kind of, I guess, hoping neither quarterback would play, or at least Tanner Morgan wouldn't play for Minnesota, would really help this total. At the number right now, if both quarterbacks were to play, I'm going to lay the 4 with Penn State. Minnesota, I think, is kind of a paper tiger. They played a very weak beginning of the season schedule. Their first 4 games were against nobodies. They ran up some really big scores and some big numbers and some big stats. They've lost their last 2 against good competition, and going on the road might be a mad Penn State team after losing their first game to Michigan. So I like Penn State here if both quarterbacks, or at least if Sean Clifford plays for Penn State.
All right. Coleman, what do you think?
I agree. Minnesota last week against Illinois was one of those ranked teams against the unranked team where the unranked team's favored. Minnesota going against the trend as the unranked team didn't cover, didn't win, didn't really live up to the numbers that are out there. You're exactly right. Their stats are skewed. I like Penn State.
All right. Well, there we go. And look, I'm going with Penn State as well. I think Michigan proved to me that they're a lot better than first off I anticipated. I mean, I knew that they were a good team, but I didn't expect to see them go in there and get pounded. Actually, I took Penn State last week and was surprised by that game. But I think Penn State's a good team, and I think they're going to eventually bounce back. And I think this is the start of it, as we get ready for this week. All right, let's throw it up on the screen. The game that everyone is hanging out with us to check out, Mississippi State at Alabama. Don't need to remind anyone about Alabama right now. They lost on a last-second field goal to Tennessee, and despite all of the mistakes, you would feel like Alabama is going into the trash can right now. I mean, the world hates Alabama. They lost a game, and we can get into all the penalties, and we can talk about the drop passes, which they lead the league in. But at the same time, they've got some great players. Mississippi State, a 21-point dog, Alabama's longest rival, or at least they've played them more than anyone else. Kenny, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on this Alabama and Mississippi State game, which kicks off at 7:00.
I'm not going to pick a side here. I'm going to pick the total. I'm going to go over 60 points in this one. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. Mike Leach and Mississippi State. They go up tempo. They throw the ball 75% of the time. And Will Rogers is a quarterback who can put points on the board. We saw the Alabama secondary, a lot of young guys starting in that secondary. They've gotten some experience over the last 3 or 4 weeks, but they're still very vulnerable. And Tennessee and Hendon Hooker showed that. I think Will Rogers will be able to show that a little bit in this game, enough to get us points. Alabama's obviously going to be really, really in a bad mood here in this game. They won this game last year 49-9 at Mississippi State. So they know they're a far better team, and they can put up points. It's funny. I've always said you cannot predict turnovers, and people would always say to me, well, that's not true. Mississippi State's playing Alabama, and Alabama's 21. Alabama's going to win the turnover battle. I'd say, yeah, you're probably right, because they're a 21-point favorite. That should be maybe minus 1.5 turnovers in the game. But for the season, Alabama's -5. -5. So if you were betting Alabama every game to win the turnover battle, you're probably losing most of those games. So they need to start creating some more turnovers, and they need to start, taking care of the football better. And that probably starts in this game right here. So I think it goes over the total. A lot of points scored here in this one.
Yeah, good point. And Mississippi State leads the league, I think, in turnovers, right? Coleman, going into this game, your thoughts on Alabama and Mississippi State?
Not only did Alabama win 49-9 last year, they won 41-0 the year before. Mike Leach, since getting to Starkville, still yet to score a touchdown against Nick Saban's Alabama. And Will Rogers, much better quarterback. I like the way he's playing, but he doesn't go over the top a lot. He is one of those, he'll pick you apart, and I think he's going to complete a lot of passes. He'll move the ball. Look for this defense to bend, not break as much. I agree with you on the over, but it's because Alabama's going to have a lot more. Bama and the over, big.
All right, and look, I'm with Kenny. I think the over is going to hit. I got a feeling Alabama's defense is going to play better today than they did last week. Give Tennessee a lot of credit for that, but Alabama having issues in the secondary, I got a feeling that the guys will be more focused. Plus, Alabama plays better at home by far than they have on the road. It's been a really tough road schedule for the Crimson Tide this year. So I'm going to take Alabama in the over in this game and feel pretty comfortable with it. All right, first you, Kenny, the wizard of odds, tell us all about your power ratings.
Yeah, go to KennyWhiteSports.com. If you're betting sports, and people like to get plays from people, like to get free plays, they like to pay for plays. $20 a month. You right now you're going to get 5 different sports. And what my power ratings do, I give you the power ratings by team and by rank, and then I also give you projections for daily games and the weekly games of what the power ratings make the line. So all you have to do is compare that line from the power ratings to the betting number. The bigger the difference, the better the play. I show you what the line should be already. So you don't need to do any work other than pick the sheet up and look and see what I made the number and what the number is. And then if you like the bet, you make the bet. It's very easy. $20 a month gets you all 5 sports right now. It's ridiculous. What a ridiculous value that is. It should be $500 a month.
Hey, definitely, man. And great hanging out with you from Vegas. And then Chris Coleman there on the Strip Unique Bar, which is right there across from the Houndstooth. I mean, you have a prime location. We'll be hanging out with you guys doing the show there when Alabama plays Austin Peay later on, and I'm going to get there early and watch a little bit of soccer. Tell us what you got going on. I love the sports environment that you've created.
Thank you. Yeah, we have everything going on right now. It's literally nonstop. I get to take a nap around Christmas for a couple of days because with the World Cup games, we'll be open by 10 a.m. Of course, we're open till 2 a.m. every night except Fridays, 3 a.m. Every baseball game, playoff game right now, NHL package, NBA. We have the NFL Sundays going. We do a free pick 'em. You can come by, pick up the sheet. Thursday on, just pick the most winners correct of Sunday's games. And we have prizes and bar tabs and stuff that we give out for whoever does the best. Believe me, the guys that are winning don't know what they're doing. You can show up and win very easily. But we have Thursday through Saturday, we have acoustic acts playing. It's a very busy time. Looking for a lot of Bama fans to show up this week. State typically doesn't travel well because they're so close They'll come over Saturday, day of the game, but it's they're not a huge one for us as we go forward. Auburn, definitely looking forward to that, and the World Cup starting.
Yeah, we got so much going on. Well, guys, had a great time hanging out with you, and we'll look forward to doing it again next week when we pick actually off next week. It'll be 2 weeks, and that'll be Alabama and LSU. But let's get through this one today, 7 o'clock, Alabama and Mississippi State. We're going to break down this matchup when we come back. Thanks for hanging out with us. More Bama Insider Tailgate Show coming up.
Unique on the Strip. It's the best place to watch sports.
You're not even kidding. 11 TVs, NFL and MLB package, NHL, EPL, and so much more. If you want a game, they have it.
Now they're doing weekly NFL Pick'em, winners every Sunday, and grand prizes on Super Bowl Sunday.
And we haven't even mentioned the drink specials.
Of course they have daily drink specials. You can see them on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Unique T-Town every day.
Unique on the Strip, the best place to watch sports in Tuscaloosa.
Hi, Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. Every Tuscaloosa Hyundai is value priced, and Tuscaloosa Hyundai doesn't add the side sticker. Side stickers mean you pay thousands more. Everything is value priced at Tuscaloosa Hyundai. No additional dealer markups. It's just that simple. So if you're tired of getting stuck with side stickers, no additional markup is why you come to Tuscaloosa Hyundai, corner of Skyline and Hargrove.
R&R Cigars invites you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Now 2 awesome locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar in Yingling for $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa, near Home 2 Suites, or Northport, next to Winn-Dixie. TheCigarMansion.com.
Cathead, the first legal distillery in the state of Mississippi. Founded in 2010 by friends and fellow Alabama grads Austin Evans and Richard Patrick to create small batch spirits that give the taste of the South with every sip. Best known for its flagship Cathead Vodka, Cathead Distillery produces 5 award-winning brands. Find out for yourself and pick some up for your next party or tailgate. CatheadDistillery.com.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You've heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
There's a new place where thrill meets chill, where the fun is always tropical cool, inside and out. The park at OWA is now Tropic Falls Theme Park, joined by the all-new indoor water park now open. Come to OWA and experience Tropic Falls. It's like nothing you've ever seen, with 23 theme park rides and 11 new indoor water park slides, complete with lazy river and arcade. All at Tropic Falls, only at OWA Parks and Resort. Buy your tickets online and save at visitowa.com.
Do you consider yourself a black sheep, misfit, or screwball? If so, we've got the perfect drink for you. Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball combines 2 of America's favorite, peanut butter and whiskey. Enjoy it neat, on the rocks, or in your favorite cocktail. Screwball, the original most awarded peanut butter whiskey, is now available near you. Go to screwballwhiskey.com for more information. Enjoy responsibly.
Advertisement by Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Autumn brings vivid colors to the back roads and hollows of Sevierville, Tennessee. Wind your way to quaint country churches, a historic covered bridge, and even a pick-your-own apple orchard. This fall, the best views are yours on Sevierville's Rocky Flats Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Welcome back to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. We are rocking it here at Innisfree in Tuscaloosa, getting you ready for Alabama's 6 o'clock kickoff against Mississippi State with Trent Rogers, who is the owner and CEO. Can I just say
there
that?
are no titles.
Let me just throw that out.
I'm one of the owners.
Let me just call you the CEO.
No,
and then
I'm
Clint Lamb.
definitely not a CEO.
You just look like it. Look at you. Got your RMFT gear on, and then there's Clint. What's up, Clint?
That somebody with a blue check mark on Twitter decided to change their name to Pete Thamel and change their picture, and then they posted a fake tweet saying that Nick Saban had informed the team that he was retiring after this year. So literally 2 minutes before I hopped on here, that's what I read, and I about had a heart attack because I'm like, how in the world did it take me 45 minutes to realize that this was
going
happening?
on?
Yeah.
Well, let me say this, Clint. I don't want to like make you uncomfortable. Trip, pull yours up. Our show is this remote is presented by Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey. Chris and Trip and I are doing this in your honor, in honor of Nick Saban, because we don't want him to retire. This shot from Innisfree as we get ready for Alabama and Mississippi State to the GOAT. Nick
Cheers.
Saban, roll tide.
You got about 12 more of those that I could, if I made the trip now, I could.
So good. They're so good. Like, Trip, they're so good. Tell them.
It just rolls right off the tongue.
Right off the tongue. All right, yes, Trip and Clint. All right, let's get into this matchup. Mississippi State and Alabama. Mississippi State, Clint, has been the beneficiary of some pretty big butt whoopings from Alabama because they've caught the Crimson Tide at the wrong time. Do you think that's what's going to happen today?
Man, that's tough because I could see it going one of two ways. If Alabama makes this a statement game, like I think that they can and probably will, then I think that, it could be, a lot more of the same. Granted, this team at the same time, it hadn't always, responded to adversity in the way that, you would typically predict, right? So I think that makes it a lot harder. But I do think that Alabama matches up well against them. I think that, the secondary and stuff could present some challenges for Bryce Young, but overall he protects the football pretty well. I think Mississippi State's kind of made a living off of generating turnovers. So as long as Alabama can protect the football, I think they're going to be able to score some points. Are they going to be able to score at will, against that secondary like they did against Tennessee's? Probably not, but I think they could put up some points. But really it's about the defense versus Mississippi State's offense and how much of a chip, on their how much of a chip are they going to play with on their shoulder? And if they can do that, I think it could get pretty ugly because I think the offensive line it's okay, but it's also pretty vulnerable.
Trip, you've been around a long time. I've been here pretty much with you. I mean, like, we're OGs, right? Like, we remember when it was like to lose to Tennessee. Do you think that this loss caught this Alabama team's attention?
I hope so. Like Clint was saying earlier, it's like, it boils down to us being disciplined, and that's what we haven't seen this year. And I hope after that Tennessee game, I get people can argue about refs all day long, but
That's
what?
me. I think the refs cost them.
If we don't put ourselves in, some dumb positions and, the ref didn't delay the game 3 times, coming out of the ball, it's like, come on, guys. Like, we don't run huddles anymore. So you've got all day to get a play call. And I get it can go down to the last second, but, touching, going after that ball on a fair catch on the punt. Like, it's just the little things that we haven't gotten done this year that have made games close that would never be close. We don't have penalties against Tennessee, ones that we caused ourselves. That game's not even. That game's not even close. We win by 2 or 3 touchdowns.
All right, Clint, I agree with Tripp. Like, did this loss get Alabama's attention? That's what we want to know.
I think that's the $1 million question. It's the question that everybody is going to have. You could talk about, teams playing Alabama close and them struggling, them kind of falling apart, them also being able to get it together. As far as they were able to get the job done against Texas, they were able to weather the storm against Arkansas and end up winning big there. They were able to keep, fend off or hold off Texas A&M. But now you weren't able to do that on Saturday. It was a loss. And how do you respond to that loss? And I think that, Nick Saban has put a huge emphasis this week on, playing a little bit more relaxed, having fun, playing the game. It's meant to be fun. That's the entire point in it. And I think Alabama's gotten away from that. to a degree. And if they can get back on track and start having a little bit fun playing some football, there's some good players and some good talent on this team. I think they can end up bouncing back pretty strong against Mississippi State. But that's the question that everybody's asking. And I think that we'll learn a ton about Alabama today, because if they're able to make that statement, then I think that, everything's going to be fine and they're able to get things. They still got some things they got to work on and correct. They're going to have the bye week that they can continue to work on some of that stuff. But the number one thing that people want to know is just how are you going to respond after, just one of it. And even though it ended up being a 3-point loss, it's the way that they looked and the fact that you came out completely unprepared. People feel like you didn't make adjustments on defense. So many things, making a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes. They've got to be able to prove that they can come out and respond in a positive way, a week after that happened.
Hanging out at Innisfree with Clint Lamb and Trip Rogers, the owner here. I'm calling him the CEO. He doesn't want to be called that. I just like the title. Brother, penalties and turnovers. I want you to tell Clint that this isn't a crack in the dynasty. But if you think it is, tell him that.
They say it every year, Alabama loses one game and it's all the whole world caves in on Alabama. It's kind of like, you're going to lose. It happens. It's how you respond to that loss. Like everyone says it every week we respond better probably than any team in the country. And like people were saying earlier this week, everyone's based on a lot of things. Alabama's based on perfection, and nobody's perfect, And so you've got to be held to that standard is unattainable. It is, does it work for a while? Maybe. It's worked for us, but it's something that is almost impossible to live for. It's tough. Like these kids, you're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, that come in here and the whole world knows who they are. If you've watched college football, everyone that plays at Alabama, that starts for Alabama, them. They don't know you, but everybody knows who they are. And they've got every single player that plays for Alabama has a spotlight on them all the time. There's not a lot of teams that are like that. There might not be. There might be 5 teams that are like that in the whole country. So it's tough. A kid, makes one bad play and all of a sudden they're like, bench him. And it's like, listen, that's not how it works. We've won a lot of national championships here, and obviously we always want to win them every year, but it's tough, and we're held to a different level because of our success, which is great. And, but it's it wears and tears on, kids.
Look, I think you put it well. When we come back, we're going to talk about this game. We're going to pick this game. I want to know what you think. I want to know what Clint thinks. I might even look at Chris and want to know what he thinks. I'm going to tell you what I think. We're going to pick this game.
Let's go.
Alabama, Mississippi State. The Crimson Tide are still ranked number 6. I still think they're the team to beat. We're going to talk about that when we come back. The final segment of the Bama Insider Tailgate Show, part of On 3. Right after this.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Elevate your taste. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
Unique on the Strip. It's the best place to watch sports.
You're not even kidding. 11 TVs, NFL and MLB package, NHL, EPL, and so much more. If you want a game, they have it.
Now they're doing weekly NFL Pick'em, winners every Sunday, and grand prizes on Super Bowl Sunday.
And we haven't even mentioned the drink specials.
Of course they have daily drink specials. You can see them on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Unique T-Town every day.
Unique on the Strip. The best place to watch sports in Tuscaloosa.
Hi, Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. Every Tuscaloosa Hyundai is value price, and Tuscaloosa Hyundai doesn't add the side sticker. Side stickers mean you pay thousands more. Everything is value priced at Tuscaloosa Hyundai. No additional dealer markups. It's just that simple. So if you're tired of getting stuck with side stickers, no additional markup is why you come to Tuscaloosa Hyundai, corner of Skyline and Hargrove.
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, football is fine art. Now at newlifeart.com, see Daniel A. Moore's new 2021 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar, featuring 13 dynamic images of defining moments from the Saban era. As a special offer to listeners of this show, use coupon code ROLLTIDE for $5 off each calendar. To order yours, call 1-800-735-2787 or visit newlifeart.com today.
Autumn brings vivid colors to the back roads and hollows of Sevierville, Tennessee. Wind your way to quaint country churches, a historic covered bridge, and even a pick-your-own apple orchard. This fall, the best views are yours on Sevierville's Rocky Flats Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Nothing compares to being at the game in person, but the next best thing has to be Floribama's Old River Grill. There's over 40 TVs, a game day atmosphere, your favorite drinks, and a football menu that will blow you away. Santa Fe egg rolls, traditional jumbo chicken wings, grilled cheese and chili cheese dogs, and you've got to try our tender pork shank served with a tropical habanero sauce. We call them Island Pig Wings. Floribama's Old River Grill, the perfect game day when you can't be there in person. Floribama's Old River Grill, across the street from the world-famous Floribama.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Touchdown! Hey guys, look at me. Now look at yourselves. I make the big plays and the big games. You don't. Yeah, you would have made All-State if Coach put you in. Keep telling that story, or you can actually play the game. The sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino puts you in the starting lineup. I'll still be making the plays. You'll be making the bets. And finally getting the sports glory you deserve. The sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. Play the game.
Final segment of the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. Thank you guys for hanging out with us here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel or on radio across the state of Alabama, getting you ready for Alabama and Mississippi State. 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Roll Tide, everybody, as Alabama looks to bounce back. Clint Lamb's part of our incredible On3 crew. Trip Rogers is the owner of Innisfree and a great longtime Alabama grad. Not the CEO, but I think he is.
Just one of the owners.
You should be the CEO.
No.
It's not Purdy.
I'm not a CEO.
We can't call Purdy.
Let's call Purdy the CEO.
All right, we'll call Purdy
Purdy's the CEO.
Do you know, Clint, do you know Purdy?
I don't know Purdy. No.
Okay, well, then let's just move on to the next topic, all right? I'm going to roll tide, everybody. All right, let's get into this. I'm going to start with you, Clint. Your thoughts on Alabama, Mississippi State today. What do you think? Like, just give me the Cliff Notes version of what's going to happen.
Dylan Johnson potentially being out, one of Mississippi State's top running backs. I think that hurts them. They completely abandoned the run last week once he went down with an injury or was forced to leave the game. Way too one-dimensional. I think the running backs only had 7 carries. I think that if they try to attempt something similar against Alabama's defense, that's not going to bode well for them. Tennessee was able to establish the run pretty consistently, which helped, complement their passing attack last week. So Mississippi State needs to try to do the same. I don't think they're going to be able to have a whole lot of success. They will have some. I think Will Rogers is pushing the football vertically a little bit more than he did last year. A lot of receivers to spread the football out to. And then the defense has been very good at generating turnovers, and it's a pretty good defense. So if Alabama can protect the football, can run the football, and also limit Mississippi State's passing attack, because I do think they're going to predominantly be a passing team like they are in most weeks, under Mike Leach, then I think they can end up winning pretty handedly. I don't have them covering, 21 points. I think that's quite a bit, even though I could totally see a scenario if they come out and make a huge statement. I could see them covering that 21-point line. But for now, I think they win by probably 17 or 18 points. Still a sizable, nice victory for Alabama. They bounce back strong. But, still got a couple of things that they probably need to work on heading into the bye week.
All right, great stuff, Clint. James, I see you in the comments section right now. It was a comedy watching Georgia trying to beat Alabama in that SEC championship game. All right, look, Trip, let me just get into your same question, man. Alabama going into this game against Mississippi State.
I agree with Clint. The 21-point spread kind of surprised me watching our defense last weekend. But if we can limit their deep throws and keep them underneath us, I think it's a whole different ball game. And like you were saying, their running game, if they can't run against us when they need to, it could be a long day for State. But what we have to do is catch the ball, run our routes the right way, and limit our penalties. I mean, it sounds simple, and it should be, but it's a few little things, and we have a whole different team, and that's what we need to do going into tomorrow. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. It's a homecoming game, which makes it even better for us. But yeah, I'm like, we gotta limit the small things that cost us big plays.
Yeah, look, I agree, man. Like, I agree. I just think that this Alabama team kind of needed the attention to be. You look at the teams that win the national championship, it's the teams that have the better players. And Alabama's got a whole team of first-round picks, right? And yeah, I mean, look, Georgia's the reigning champs. They had a bunch of first-round picks. They don't have first-round picks right now. Alabama does. Like, they got the team with all the first-round picks. It's just going out there and remembering that, look, you got to do the little things that make you successful. I took Alabama and gave up the 21. Clint, your score, and let's hit it right now. And then I'm going to go Trip, and then I'm going to wrap it up.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember what I did on our score predictions. It was 23 to, I think, 41. So I think it was an 18-point victory for Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but that's kind of where I have it, somewhere in the low to, max mid 40s, and then for Mississippi State, somewhere in the low to mid 20s. So like I said, I think it's a 3-score victory for Alabama, but maybe not quite covering the spread. But at the same time, I'll be able to tell you real quick, if they come out with a chip on their shoulder, which I'm certainly hoping they're able to, it could get really ugly really quick, because the last thing you want to do is face a very motivated Alabama team.
I agree, Trip. What do you think?
That's 100% correct. Like, we've got to come up, and we haven't come out in one game this year and made a true statement at the beginning of a game. And we need to do that tomorrow to put everybody on watch for the rest of the season, that everybody thinks that, I guarantee, I look, and LSU and Ole Miss are sitting there like, this is it. We're going to take down Alabama this year. We got to come out and make a statement tomorrow and be like, hey, you don't want to be on the list when we play y'all next. And we got 2 away games coming up. Ole Miss they think it's going to be the biggest game maybe in Oxford's history when we go in there, if they're undefeated. And it's going to be unbelievable. So we've got to make that statement tomorrow. I'm not a big score guy. I'm an old guy. I'm like, we win by 1 point, I'm happy, because I lived through the 90s and the 2000s. But no, 17 to 20 points is, I think that's where we're at. I think, hopefully we'll get up, and if they get a late score on our second or third string, that might cover the spread. I'm fine with that.
Look, I have a lot of respect for Mississippi State, man. I remember when they had Jackie Sherrill. Oh, look at this. Look at this. What we're doing here. What are we doing here, Trip? What are we doing right here?
This is a Reese's.
This is a Reese's.
So this is screwball with some Yoo-hoo in it.
And Clint, this is for you, brother.
I love it,
At the end of the show, and this show is brought to you by Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey.
Cheers.
Cheers to all you guys. Roll Tide, everybody. Roll Tide. I'm going to do this. That is scrumptious.
It's even better.
Have you ever heard that term, scrumptious?
Yeah.
That's just what this show's all about. scrumptious. And what I want to tell you, whether you're a Georgia fan listening because you don't have anything else going on, or you're an Alabama fan that's ready for this game to kick off at 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Hey, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide. Pace yourself tomorrow. It's a long day.
Pace yourself and have a good time. But let me remind you guys that next show will be at the Floribama.
Nice.
The next two.
Nice.
Come down and hang out with us, man.
Some of us have to work.
Well, we'll be down at the Floribama. They got live music on 3 stages daily. They're open from 11 a.m. to 3 a.m. Free bingo Monday through Friday, 1 to 4. Come get your bushwhackers with your screwball. So if you're not in Tuscaloosa at Innisfree, that's not That's not a bad place to hang out, right?
Tell John Innisfree's Floribama's their second favorite bar behind Innisfree.
Yeah, tell John McInnes, my fraternity brother and longtime friend. I'm not arguing with you. All right, look, final score is Alabama's going to run this thing up a little bit. Probably going to be close to 45-7, Alabama, and then they're going to take that off week, and then they're going to focus on LSU, and then they're going to focus on Ole Miss, and then they're going to beat Auburn after the little bye week game, and then we get to play Tennessee again.
Hey, don't count out Austin Peay.
I want to play Tennessee one more time. Come on, let's play Tennessee. Hey, guys, don't forget after the game on the BamaInsider YouTube channel, we'll take your calls. We'll break everything down, so hang out with us there. Thank you to all of our great sponsors, including the awesome people here at Innisfree that always make our show possible and make this just a really fun time. Yingling and Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey and all you guys for hanging out with us. This is the BamaInsider Tailgate Show. Alabama, Mississippi State, 6 o'clock Central. Roll Tide, everybody. We'll talk to you after the game.
Roll Tide.